Did you ever forcefully try to like decouple your sense of self from the work you made in all your meditations and astral projection?
Sure.
And?
Of course. Yeah. Well,
how close did you get?
You have to do that.
Yeah.
Gotta do that sometimes. You have to decouple from it. Otherwise, I think you could get into some kind of terrible rut.
Huh. What do you mean? Can you explain that?
If your ego's too attached to your work, you know?
Yeah.
The ego's really a destructive thing to creativity. You know, so you always have to overcome the ego. And part of that is you really got to detach. And that's what LSD was great for that. Detach me from
it's ego death.
This identity that was so deep in me about being this cartoonist. And so it actually made me kind of like adhering to conventions too much. That my identity was so tied to that, being a professional cartoonist. So LSD broke me out and said, this is ridiculous, just, you know, this cartooning is just a dumb thing, it's no big deal, you know.
But after LSD...
Even being a scientist or being the fucking king of England, it's all dumb stuff.
But you didn't continue to think that way, right? It appears from what you were saying.
Yeah, the ego came back, it does.
It came back.
Yeah, it does, after a while. But, you know, then you have to keep breaking out of it again all the time. Just break through the vice-like grip of the ego on what you're doing.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's very difficult to do that.
It is, yeah. It's always a challenge, always.
Yeah.
And maybe you have to be a little crazy, you know, a few screws loose to really disassociate from the ego, because the ego is the thing that always wants you to be correct. You know, to write correctly, to draw correctly, and so to cut loose from that, you get to be a little nuts.
Yeah, it's very scary.
Yeah. It is. You're in the fringe. You're in the frontier. There's no book of rules. There's no map. There's no chart. You're out there.
Yeah. I'm wondering about. I guess I'll ask a question. This wasn't a question from the audience, but I feel like people would want to know if you keep up with young cartoonists today,
yes.
and what are your...
I do.
Like, what do you like?
I'm inspired by certain young cartoonists' work I see. It inspires me, actually.
Yeah.
Because the youthful energy, you know, it's like having a young girlfriend or something. You know, it's really inspiring.
Are you in touch with people, like in conversation with people?
Yeah. I'm in touch with this young woman cartoonist in Switzerland named Simone Baumann. She's great. She's in her 20s. She's totally wacky. She's nuts. She's been in therapy, and her parents just completely disapprove of her. And she just turns out this great, hilarious cartoons in Zurich, Switzerland. Because it can come from anywhere. Just energy, you know.
Do people just send stuff to you?
They do, yeah. I actually met her when I was in, where was I? I was in Lucerne in Switzerland for some show, and I was sitting at this table in this cafe and talking to some people, and this girl comes up and says, here's this book I did, and she handed it to me, and she starts to go away, and I start looking, and I thought, wow, this is actually good, because 80% of the time it's no good, you know.
Sure.
Young person had just something that's a bunch of slop, but this was really good. And so I turned to her, hey, this is really good. Send me some more. This was number 48 of her little, her little zine that she does, you know.
Yeah.
Said, send me the rest of them, you know. So she did, wow.
Do you still, I mean, I know that the comic book was, you know, the kind of like
I'm still in love with that format, the comic book.
Yeah. Do you feel like, I mean, you were talking about the story that you were thinking about.
Yeah.
Are you planning to?
I'm working on one now, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, because now you have, obviously, there's a kind of a branch of your work that is now fine art, you know?
Sure, I'm in this Werner Gallery. You kidding?
No, I know. I know.
That's something.
Is that, like, strange to you that it's
totally strange.
Yeah.
Totally.
How do you deal with it? How do you kind of feel about the art world or kind of that interaction?
The art world? Fine art world? It's a whole different thing from the comic world. The comic world is is a scruffy little orphan compared to the
Right.
fine art world, the money, the wealth. And,
Yeah.
you know, and most of that art, the art that they do, I don't know.
Yeah,
It's not my cup of tea, I'll tell
Right.
you that. But,
But
wow.
Dan, did you have
agree with that?
conversations with Robert about contemporary art? Because obviously you're just not.
I try to avoid.
You avoid it.
Yeah. No, I mean, we've talked about I've shown
I'm
Robert.
very conservative that way.
Yes.
You know, I'm old school. I thought that everything went wrong with abstract expressionism, and they still turning out that shit. Gee, it's unbelievable. It's unbelievable. It goes on and on. Abstract. Come on, learn to draw, learn to paint from life, and something. They agree. Come on.
They agree.
Art world, get with it, okay? But who,
Robert loves Reginald Marsh.
Reginald Marsh.
Great artist. No, I mean, we talked about it a
Social
lot.
realism of the 30s, and then suddenly abstract expressionism just buried all that, just rolled over like a steamroller. But of course, I read that the CIA was promoting abstract expressionism.
It was a little more complicated than that.
Abstract expressionism is politically neutral, doesn't make it's no political threat, no controversy, it's just, you know.
Do you feel that it's not, I mean, I wrote down a quote from the book that I thought was very interesting and well put. Robert's vision of culture is consistent. His critique is class-based. Consistent. His critique is class-based. The cake
Is
eaters,
what?
class-based.
Class-based.
Class-based, like class, social class.
Class baked?
Based.
Baked, class baked. What is that? What do you mean by
Based in class.
Based in class.
based?
Yeah.
Oh, based in
Yeah.
class.
Yeah.
The cake eaters, as he calls them,
Cake eaters, right.
suppress the roiling consciousness of America in favor of more bourgeois forms that cloak the messiness in a blanket of bland respectability.
That's beautiful. I didn't say that. It's him, right?
Yeah, I'm quoting Dan.
That was me describing your
That's beautiful.
point of view.
Yeah.
It's not a point of view I agree with, but it is your point of view, I think.
I mean, I kind of agree
Beautifully
with it.
put.
I mean, it's like...
I agree
get-
with some of it.
Well, it depends what you call bourgeois bland respectability, I
Yes,
guess.
there's a lot of levels there.
Right.
Some people say, or might say, that the bourgeois acceptance is the kiss of death.
Some would say, but others would say it's a way to make a living.
Right.
Yeah, it's a way to make
As you yourself
As
have
you
done.
yourself have done. I mean, you
To
work
great
with...
success,
That's
yeah.
what that writer Tom Wolfe called the boho dance.
Yes, famous. Yes.
Bohemians dancing around the bourgeois. You know, we hate you. You're square. You're rigid. But we need your money. So
Well, and for for quite a while, you've taken the money.
Yeah.
I take the money. Sure, I take the money for it. If they want to pay a lot of money for my original artwork, great, fine. Yeah, I'll take it. I love Zorner. They're great. They're good to me.
Keep
good
those
to me. I
letters and
love those
checks
people.
coming.
Okay.
They take care of me. It's like if you were in the Renaissance and the Pope was your patron, You're secure in the arms of power and money,